everybody and welcome back to my channel and welcome to Sewing My Dream Spring Wardrobe. A couple of weeks ago I shared a video with lots of Pinterest style sewing inspiration. It was a list of 8 things that I wanted to sew for my spring wardrobe, and I've been getting stuck into a couple of those projects. You may have seen the sheared dress that I made. I did a full tutorial for that if you missed it. I'll pop a link below if you're interested in seeing that. And there's been a couple of things that I've been working on in the background as well, but there's a couple of things on that list that I really want to make this week. We're in the middle of Me Made May at the moment, and I'm definitely feeling like I'm running out of inspiration in my own wardrobe. So I want to make some lovely new pieces that I can get lots of wear out of. So the first thing we're going to be making this week is a Rixo inspired dress. Rixo have this beautiful white dress with a Peter Pan style collar with a ruffle, elasticated waistline. It's really gorgeous and it's very similar to this pattern here. So what I'm going to be doing is extending this to make it into a dress to get a very similar look to the Rixo dress. And then the other thing we're going to be working on in the background, which you may have seen a few months ago here on this channel, I started making this very popular and viral pattern from McCall's, but it didn't really go that well for me, to be honest, in the beginning. I made a few adjustments to the fit of the pattern, so I made it a lot more fitted. I ended up with sleeves that were too tight. I didn't love how the pockets looked on the bodice. It just all looked a bit odd. So it went in the naughty corner and I left it there for a while. But recently I have come up with a plan which has completely reignited my inspiration for this whole project. The first thing I did was I took the sleeves off and I bought some more fabric so I can make the sleeves bigger and more comfortable, because I just know I won't wear something with a tight sleeve. And then I took the pockets off the bodice because I just thought, although they were sewn on really well, they didn't look that great, and I knew I wasn't going to wear it with those pockets on. They're not functional anyway, so there was no point in having them. So I replaced the pockets with this embroidery, which I have been very slowly hand sewing on over the last week. And we're very nearly there. It's taking me ages because this is so intricate, but I just absolutely love how this looks. It's completely and utterly changed the look of this bodice for me. I am so in love with it now, really happy. So I'm going to be chipping away at this in the background, getting that hand sewing done. We can get the sleeves on and the skirt and hopefully get this finished this week. That would be great because I think the weather is changing to be very cold and rainy. So I need something a bit warmer, and this will be perfect for layering. And then the other thing I'm going to be working on, which wasn't actually on my list because I only bought this fabric last week, but I'm so obsessed with it. I really want to sew it as soon as possible. I was very much inspired by Alex Arnold on Instagram. She has a couple of tops made out of this gorgeous fabric, and she styles them all the time, and I just love the colours and this fun marble print. It's just beautiful, and this is a cotton jersey, so it's soft. It's going to be lovely to wear. So I'm moving this way up on the list of things to sew. I really want to make a one shoulder top out of this. I found a pattern, I'll pop a picture of it, but it is a PDF, so I need to print it and stick it together. But yeah, lots to be getting on with today. It feels like a lot to make in 1 week, but I haven't really sewn over the last month. I've just been so busy with work and other stuff. So I'm really keen to get stuck into a few projects and give my wardrobe a bit of a makeover, because I'm seriously lacking at the moment with things that fit me and that I'm enjoying wearing. So I want to make some lovely new bits to wear for the rest of Me Made May. So first up, we're going to get started with the white dress. I have already cut it out, but I'm going to explain to you what I did to change it so we can make it into a dress. I'm so annoyed. I've just managed to rip the pattern piece getting this out of the envelope. So I'm going to have to be very careful. But if you have a look at the pattern piece for the bodice of this pattern, you can see that you've got 2 lines, and this is where the casing for the elastic around the waist attaches. So what I've done is I've cut off the bottom of the top here. So we've got a little bit of a gap just underneath where that final casing line goes. So that will mean instead of this being a longer top, it's going to be more of like a waist level bodice. Now, if I was drafting this from scratch, which I'm not, I am actually upcycling a previous dress that I made. So I've already got a skirt pre-done, which I want to attach to this new bodice. But if I was doing this from scratch, all I would do is instead of cutting the pattern, I would just grade this out and grade this down. Just keep it straight, go all the way down, but kind of go out as you go down. So you could get like a bit of a circle going at the bottom. I think that would be a really easy way to hack this pattern. But yeah, I think if you're doing it from scratch, that would be much easier than doing it as a separate skirt and bodice. But like I said, I'm trying to use what I've got already. I'm also not making a matching ruffle for this. I bought this trim. I bought loads of it. I didn't realize I bought quite this much, but I bought this really, really cute white trim. It's like on net, but it's got embroidery on glaze, and I think that will be gorgeous around the neck. I'm using this white embroidered cotton from Lullabees, which is gorgeous, but as you can see, it's very sheer. So I had some cotton voile in my stash. It's quite lightweight, but I've cut that out as the lining. I'm hoping that it's going to give enough coverage, because I've just pulled it up against this and it's still looking a teeny bit sheer, but I might just have to be sensible about underwear choices. So yeah, everything's cut out and ready to sew. So let's start putting this together. So I'm just having a little flick through the instructions of this pattern because it's not lined, it's faced originally. So it doesn't have a full lining, but I think it should be relatively easy to still make it with a lining, hopefully. I think it's only gonna get fiddly around the waist where we add the channels for elastic. I could sandwich the elastic between the shell and the lining, but I think because the shell fabric is quite sheer, I think you're going to see the elastic. So I'd rather, I think, just do a casing. I think it will look a lot better. It looks like it's a relatively easy pattern to make though. Shouldn't take too long because there's no zips or real fitting or anything like that. It's all elasticated. Love to see it. We love a quick make. So if you missed the video, you may not know that I have had a bit of a machine upgrade. I have switched to an Atelier 6, which has been loaned to me by Janome. And my mum was over babysitting last night. She's obviously been on it because there's a buttonhole foot on it, which wasn't there when I left last night. So now I've got to figure out how to put it back together and get this off. And remember which foot I'm supposed to be using as well. A foot. Okay, cool. It's also really funny because when I put up that video about the machine, so many of you commented and said that the things I was getting really excited about are also features on the other machine that I had, the 5270. Because of when I got that machine kind of during wedding sewing, I didn't really use any of the features. I literally just used it as if it was just a basic machine. So yeah, I'd probably need to go back onto that machine properly and test the real potential on that one before I do comparisons, because it wouldn't be fair to compare that against this when I literally did not do a lot on that old machine, and this one I've been playing with all the features. So it's going to be a clear favourite, isn't it? I've only made a skirt on this so far, but I've been absolutely loving it. It's been such a great machine, so I'm excited to do a full dress on it today. Okay, so I've just sewn my bodices together at the shoulder seams. I did the same thing for the lining as well. So now we've got to assemble the collar. So I'm just starting to pin on my trim. Hopefully it sews on okay. It's just probably gonna have to have a slightly smaller seam allowance, because can you see this flat bit here is also the perfect shade of white. Because having tried on lots of wedding dresses and shopped for wedding dress fabric and all of that sort of stuff, you don't realise how many different shades of white there are. You've got like pure white, warm white, cool white, ivory white. It's so confusing. But these seem to be a really good match. And actually that looks really, really cute on there. So I've just basted the collar on and I thought I'd give it a quick try on. I've pinned it together here, and how darling is this? It's so cute. So I made an oversized collar top last year and I haven't worn it once. It was just too much. The collar was way too big. But I feel like this is a little bit more kind of understated. I think the shape of it as well. It's definitely like a little bit less in your face than the last one I made. I love how this trim looks as well. It looks really lovely with the fabric. It's a little bit long at the back, but I think I'm going to leave that because by the time I put the elastic and stuff in, it will tighten it up. And also, sorry, I've got a gate crash and my son's down there. He wants to be part of it.
I just want chocolate.
Oh yeah, I thought you probably would do. Right, I need to pause this a minute and go and get him some chocolate. I'll be back. I'm back. He's got his snacks, so he's happy now. He's gone off with Daddy. But I'm overall really happy with how this is looking so far. I'll adjust the shoulders and then I think we're good to go. I think the next step is doing the loops for the buttons at the front. I really don't want to do that. I hate doing loops. I hate them. I should have bought some ready-made ones. I didn't think that far ahead. But I think I'm going to pause for a bit and go and have a coffee in the garden because it's really sunny and gorgeous. So I'm going to grab my bodice from my zip front dress and do a little bit of hand sewing in the garden with a coffee while the sun's still out, and we'll revisit this a little bit later. That was so lovely, sitting out in the sun and doing some hand sewing, but as you can see, I didn't get that much further. I've just got this bit here to do, and I know it doesn't look like a lot, but it's taking so long because I'm so bad at hand sewing, and this is so intricate. I mean, my mum did a bit on this as well, who is like the hand sewing queen. She's very quick, and even she was fed up of it after about 10 minutes. So I'm going to tackle a bit more tonight. Maybe we'll get it finished by the end of this year. Hopefully, maybe, probably not. Did you see my gorgeous rose out in the garden? Sorry, this is my other love of my life, is my garden. I absolutely love my garden. I'm obsessed with roses and hydrangeas, and that rambling rose is going to be glorious this year. And I've also been waiting for it to open up because I want it in the background of my photos and videos of my wedding dress. So I've been watching it really eagerly for it to open so I can finally get out there and get some beautiful shots of that dress, because the garden earlier in the year was looking pretty grim and I haven't really got anywhere else I can do photos and videos. So now I can add that to this week's to-do list and get out there and get shooting that dress, which means I can finally get the vlog out, which is really exciting. It's been long enough. I've been married 6 months already. Right, so let's get back to the white dress for a minute. I'm just trying to figure this all out because I've made it very difficult for myself adding a lining. So I'm not really sure what to do about the construction for a minute. Okay, so I did some thinking, I did some experimenting, and none of it worked. So now I've got to do some seam ripping. I was basically trying to forego the binding. Have I told you that already? But yeah, it doesn't work. It just looks messy around the front and things. So I'm just going to scrap that and just follow the instructions as they are, treating the shell and the lining as one piece of fabric, which means I've now got to do loops, which I really didn't want to do, but I'm going to have to do them. Anyway, I will catch up with you later because I've got a fair bit of unpicking to do. How fun for me. Good morning, it's the next day. I've just grabbed myself a coffee. I'm ready to get stuck back in to this dress. So I did the channels for the elastic last night. Next step is the loops for the buttons at the front. Now I was going to use one of my fabrics, either the lining or the shell fabric, but the shell fabric is very textured, so it's going to be a nightmare to turn. The lining fabric is voile, so it's a bit thin. So I'm just going to use some bias tape for my loops. It's the right weight, so it will be absolutely fine. And this is not too thick, but it's definitely stronger than the voile I've used for lining, so it should work a bit better. I've got some red embroidery thread to use to turn rather than trying to do this with a safety pin because that's just far too fiddly. So that's the first step, creating those loops. And then I think we've just got to bind the neckline and sew the sleeves on, attach the skirt, and we're done. So I'm really hoping to get this done by the end of today. It's quite early, it's only 10 o'clock now, so I've got until about 3. So let's see what we can do. Hopefully you can see this okay, but what I've done is I've just stitched this embroidery thread in place at the end, and then I've gone ahead and pinned all along my bias tape, and you can see the thread is right at the fold. So we're very carefully going to stitch as close to that fold as possible. This is the great thing about using white for stuff like this, as you can see through it. And then I've got a loose end, which once we've stitched this together, we can pull that and it will pull everything right sides through. Useful technique. You just need to make sure you've got a thick thread, like an embroidery thread or something like that, so it doesn't snap.
The two of us, we don't have to stop. Baby, let's go for a ride. You and I, let us run away. We can go where we want.
Now, moment of truth. Is this gonna work? Please do. Oh no, the thread snapped. Oh. No, that was annoying, but we're sorted now. Basically, I used the end of my needle to put the thread back through, just turning the needle this way through. Got it back through the loop and then reattached it at the end and then pulled it through a bit more carefully and gently this time. And now we've got some loops. So we've got to cut 5 of these at 2 1/4 inches. So I'm going to go and cut those out and then we'll get them attached. So I've just clipped my loops in place. Obviously because I shortened this bodice, another one would have been down here. So I've put them a little bit closer together because I still wanted 5, because I wanted one slightly higher up here. So I've actually not used the markings at all here. I've put them 1 inch apart each, and that should just close that neckline, because when I tried it on, it was a little bit low. So I'm just gonna baste these all in place and then we can add the binding. So I was literally about to sew the binding on and realised I hadn't put the elastic in around the waist yet. So I'm going to do that quickly. I always like to do that kind of at the end because I like to try it on and make sure the elastic is a good fit rather than following pattern measurements. But I think it's together enough that I can try it on and see. So I'm going to do that quickly and then put the binding on. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do some more unpicking and I really don't want to be doing that. Sorry, I've been a little bit quiet because I've just been gently chipping away at everything. So I finished the binding around the neckline of the bodice and it looks really, really lovely. So I've then been working on the sleeves. And what I was just showing you on the machine is I decided to add this lovely little trim around the bottom of the sleeve as well. This is really, really easy to do. Basically, all I did was overlock the bottom edge of my sleeve, and then I sewed the trim, and then I sewed the trim to the sleeve right side together. And then after that, I pressed all the seam allowances upwards and then just went round and top stitched that all in place to make it look really lovely and neat. It just stops that seam allowance from flipping down, because if it does, it's going to be really obvious with this lace. So the next step is adding a channel for the elastic. I'm just going to use bias tape again in the sleeve, and then popping some elastic in that, and then we can get the sleeve attached to the bodice. It's a bit later now. I had to go and do the school run and get started on tea, but I have just come back in because I was inserting the elastic into my sleeves, and I am happy with how they're looking, but I don't know if they're maybe a bit too frilly now. Is this a bit over the top? It's going to be really hard to tell until I put it on the bodice. I fear I may have ruined this. I've just shown my sister and my daughter, and they said that these sleeves look like knickerbockers and I look like something out of Downton Abbey. I think it's now all a bit too much. This is giving bloomers and not in a cute way. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut off above the elastic, because I don't think it needs elastic. I don't think it needs any kind of ruffle. It's just too much with all of this going on as well. So I think we're just going to go with a simple straight sleeve. If that still doesn't work, then I'm going to go for sleeveless, because I actually really loved it without sleeves. Luckily, I've only just clipped these on. I haven't sewn them in place. So I'm going to take them off and make some adjustments and try again, and hopefully look a little bit more up to date. Good morning, it's the next day now. And as you can see, I've added the skirt, which I'm very, very happy with. It hasn't got a lining yet because I can't find my lining. And I would have had to add them bit by bit anyway, because adding a skirt to an elasticated bodice like this is a bit fiddly. So if you've got a lining, it's definitely better to do it layer by layer. So eventually I'll find the lining and be able to add that. I don't know where it is. I've got a huge piece. I know I do, so I don't want to buy any more or use anything else because I want the same lining as the bodice. It'll turn up, I'm sure. So the sleeves are looking a lot better. I'm still not 100% happy with them. I feel like the straight look is a lot better. I think I want to take some of this volume out. I don't think I want the gathering and the puffiness here. I just think with the collar as well, it's too much, especially because this is a dress. If it was a top, I think it would totally work, but as a dress, it's just all too much. So I'm going to unpick these again and try again, but at least they're not looking like knickerbockers this morning. Okay, so I've just adjusted my sleeve. Hopefully this is going to be an improvement. It's a little bit shorter, just under an inch shorter. So I brought it in about 2 inches each side, and then brought the kind of, what's the technical word for it? The rise at the top of the sleeve, I brought that down. So it won't need as much gathering. It's still a pretty similar shape to the original, because I obviously need it to fit the bodice. It's just got a lot less volume than before. So it's still going to have a little bit of gathering, I think, because I don't want it super, super tight. So I'm just going to add that teeny tiny bit of gathering, and then we'll sew it on again and see if it's any better. Fingers crossed. This is better. That's what this dress needed. That's far better. But I am going to have to wash this after I've hemmed the sleeves, because I've managed to get lip gloss on it and I managed to get chocolate on the sleeves because I was snacking and inserting the sleeves at the same time. So that was a bit silly. But I'll finish off those last couple of bits and then we can have a proper try on when it's clean tomorrow. So I've just finished the hem and stuff for the white dress. I'm going to sew the buttons on later tonight. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to finish off the last of this as well. It's just this tiny, tiny little leaf that I need to do, and these little bits here. So I'm very, very close. But in the meantime, I think I'm just going to attach the sleeves and the skirt to this. Hello, it's the next day. I have been chipping away at this dress and we're very nearly at the end. I'm so happy with how this looks. It's really, really cute. And actually, I am really enjoying it sleeveless. I'm not going to make this one sleeveless because it's in a heavier weight denim. And the point is I want this to be like a layering piece for winter. I want to be able to put like long sleeve tops and things underneath it and stuff. So I'll definitely put the sleeves on this one, but I think my next one, I might go sleeveless and then like in a linen blend fabric maybe for a spring summer kind of vibe, because I think that's really cute. The only thing I'm on the fence about is the fit. Now this pattern is designed to be very oversized. It's supposed to be loose fitting. That's the whole vibe. But when I cut this out and made it in February, I think it was February originally, I'd cut the size down. So I'd made a 10 and then I'd put darts in at the back. So I'd taken a fair bit of room out of the bodice, but my body has changed over the last couple of months and I've lost 1.5 inches off my waist in a bit of a gym girl era. So it's now not fitting as nicely as it was fitting back then. And I don't know if it's now too oversized for me again. And I do want it to be like loose and easy and stuff like that. I'm just imagining this for like luteal phase when you're really, really bloated. I get really badly bloated in that week and I'm comfortable and I just don't want stuff that's tight. And I feel like something like this would be very welcome in my wardrobe because it is looser and because this bodice is a little bit too short for me. It's almost giving me maternity vibes. And as somebody who's had 3 babies, I don't want to revisit that era particularly. I'm definitely done with maternity dresses. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I leave it as it is or whether I need to take it in. I think I'm going to sleep on it, maybe put up a poll on my Instagram stories as well and see what other people think and go from there. Can we just take a moment for my hand sewing? I mean, my mum did do a little bit of this, but I am very proud of myself that I did all this. I mean, it's not the neatest on the inside, but on the outside, it looks great. So who cares? It did take me ages though, so I won't be doing it again in a hurry. Good morning. It's the next day. I have been thinking about this dress long and hard, and I've decided the right thing to do is to take it in. I just know that with its current fit, I'm not going to reach for it. So I'm literally just going to take it in like 3/4 of an inch or even 1/2 inch each side, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but I think it will make a big difference to me. And then we can get it finished, finish off the hem, attach the sleeves. So I'm going to grab my seam ripper, stick a YouTube video on and basically undo everything that I did yesterday and fix the fit of this bodice. Let's go. I am so glad I did that. It literally took me 5 minutes, not even that. This was really easy to like unpick and put back together, which is great. So now we can start, I'm just getting rid of my gathering stitches. So now we can start attaching the sleeves and then I've got to tackle the hem because I need to take some length off the hem. So I can't remember if I mentioned yesterday, but this is basically like down to my feet, which in a heavy denim is a bit much. So I'm probably going to take off 3 inches from the length. I do love a long dress. I absolutely love a long dress, but it's just, yeah, a bit too long. Doing like a simple elastic channel on the sleeves for this. I did think about doing a proper cuff, but because I want to be able to layer stuff underneath, I don't really want a cuff. I think it will make it quite restrictive. So I know it's lazy just doing elastic, but I think practicality wise, it's the way to go. So I'm just going to do that. And also because my sleeve is now a little bit wider as well, having the elastic will look really nice because I'll have like a bit of a gathered cuff. So yeah, let's get that sleeve on. And then I think we'll have this done before lunchtime. What a result.
I wake up from the sunshine on my face, so dehydrated, don't know what to say. Who's sleeping by my side? What did I do last night? Can someone make this headache go away?
This has got to be a sign to follow your gut when it comes to sewing. The fit of this bodice is so much better. I know to everyone else, it's going to be the most minimal adjustment, but for me, this has made a huge, huge difference. Let me show you a bit closer so you can kind of see. So before, when I was turning like that, it was like puffing out and we had a bit of a maternity look going on. But this time it's just skimming my waist, which is exactly what I want. I still think next time it needs to be a little bit longer, but only by an inch or so, not a huge amount more. And can we just take a moment for these sleeves? These are absolutely adorable. The way that they puff up is just so cute. I love them. And the elastic casing at the cuff was such a good decision. These are really, really comfortable. I just love how billowy it kind of is at the bottom as well. I am really, really pleased with this now. I can't believe it's taken me 3 months to get here, but we finally got here. There's definitely a couple of adjustments I would make next time. The skirt doesn't need quite as much fullness. I think these panels in the front are a bit unnecessary. I know they're designed to be there for the pockets. Obviously I didn't add the pockets because I'm not a pockets and dresses kind of girl, and on a denim like this it's going to add so much bulk that I didn't want. So for me that's just kind of a wasted feature. So I think next time I would just cut this front panel with a bit more room either side, and that would be enough. We don't need quite this much volume. I'm gonna go for a size 8 probably next time, but definitely keeping the darts in the back and everything. But yeah, I'm so pleased with this. It is adorable. I'm gonna take this off and give it a good iron, and then tomorrow I'm going to show you this dress in full and my white dress in full, and you've got to tell me in the comments which one is your favorite. So those are the finished dresses from this week in Sewing My Dream Spring Wardrobe. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. I'm finding it really hard to pick, but actually, surprisingly, I think I like the pink denim one slightly more, which I was not expecting because of the way I felt about that dress when I made it initially, but it is fully redeemed itself. I'm very pleased with how that one turned out. I'm going to split this video into 2 parts because it's getting quite long. So in part 2, I will be starting the multicolored one shoulder jersey top that I showed you earlier in my plans. I'm also going to be making a classic white midi skirt as well, and a very pretty blouse too. So stay tuned for that video. I will see you in that one. Thank you so much for watching today's vlog. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful week and happy sewing, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.